like do this is just to put it in the refrigerator for 15 minutes or so. That would get you to about the right temperature. It can be nice, the little chill on it. But we also drink them when they're not very chilled, and they're delightful.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We are live on the Facebook. I didn't have to click live.
On the YouTube.
Yeah, or YouTube. What did I say? Facebook.
Are we on the Facebook nowadays?
Are we on the Facebook, on the internet? We are in the web.
So hello for those of you who are joining us on YouTube.
Yes.
We were just mentioning that these wines can be served slightly chilled. That's sort of their optimal recommendation. You can reach the correct chill by really just putting it in the fridge for about 15 minutes. We're not talking very, very cold, just a slight chill, a little bit below room temperature.
Yeah, and they really do have just a wonderful nose on them. That's one of the reasons why I think we really gravitate back to the Gamay grape in the Beaujolais region, is because just how wonderful. It's just, as I'm setting up and I've poured all the glasses, I was sitting here like fiddling around on the computer and I could still smell it wafting in my face. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, these are very aromatic. And as we'll talk about later, one of the main notes that you can get are flowers, specifically often violets, but you can also get roses or peonies.
Peonies, yes.
And that floral note on the nose is just so lovely.
I think one of the things that would be really great to have is a flower garden specific for wine tasting notes. I feel like we see violets and peonies and roses.
Jasmine, honeysuckle. You need to have all of these.
Is it really just like all aromatic flowers? Like, are there any, what's the cross section of of aromatic flowers that don't display themselves in wine? That would be. We'll find out at some point. More homework. I love finding more homework for us to do. That's really the fun part of it. So, we got 3 minutes. We're just kind of hanging out. We like to talk, really kind of warm up the old vocal cords.
I mean, we're going to give it a little more time for people to get in, get settled, get their audio connected. Hopefully some people will connect their video. We're making everybody a panelist as usual. This means that you can share your video and you're able to share your audio, though we do ask that everyone mute themselves for now and wait until the more discussion portion, unless you have a question. I see we have a note in the chat already. Any aroma of petunias?
Petunias? Oh, I don't know, but I love it.
I don't know if I remember.
I don't remember what a petunia smells like. And I think that's one of the harder parts about some of these things. It's like, maybe that's a perfect, descriptor for it.
I really remember the smell of violets, actually, because when I was, not long after I was allowed to go buy a drink in bars, only a couple years after, I went to this one bar and they had a martini made of a liqueur that's made exclusively of violets. And so it's this like bright purple martini and it smells like violets and it's just so strong of violets that now that's like locked in my memory forever. Very fun.
Very fun indeed.
Hello, welcome everyone. It's nice to see people on the webcams.
Yes. Oh man. Okay, so we do have a couple of people who have logged in on the YouTube too.
On the YouTube.
Wow. All right. No, I actually I kind of sent out a little bit of a reminder, like just not really a reminder email, but to people who have been showing up, just asking kind of their feedback about the experience of these virtual lectures and moving forward. And a lot of people have said that the YouTube is really helpful. They'll either like have their own group of people and then they're kind of sitting there and this is just on in the background, or they'll come back later. Especially if people, sometimes, 7 o'clock is 7:30 is a little hard, with dinner and families and such. So,
for sure.
Glad that some people are using it. And so we do have the YouTube chat up and running as well. Not sure if we'll ever actually get the ability to micromanage all of what's going on of the chats and lectures.
Yes,
but we'll try.
We'll try to remember to read the questions.
Of course.
Yeah, so thank you for everyone who writes in questions, asks questions.
Yeah, so, we're going to probably give this another minute or two. We don't like to start necessarily right on time, but we are so happy to see everybody have shown up right now. We will start kicking this off, though, with talking about our love of Beaujolais, the Gamay grape. I don't even know if I have a slide in here that shows the Gamay grape. I think everybody here already has heard about the Gamay grape over and over again.
If you've been following us.
If you've been following us. It's one of the best value wines you can find in France. Just the complexity of flavors, how the aromas leap out of the glass. We're not super fans of over oaked reds or whites for that matter, and so really you just get a great representation of this wine on your palate. And so
you can also get some flavors that are Burgundian. You can get some forest floor and notes like that, especially if aged. One of the reasons we got really interested in this early on was because we had heard a tip that aging Beaujolais Cru, when you're starting out your cellar, if you're not ready to invest in Burgundy wine, which is very coveted and very pricey, you can get some really wonderful and similar flavors from Beaujolais Cru at times. And like Pinot Noir, Gamay can be aged if it's a quality wine, and you can get some interesting notes.
Yes, yeah, and it really is nice to see, because the Gamay grape really does have, it is very, very similar to the Pinot Noir in terms of its flavor profile. It might be a little bit more expressive of fruity flavors compared to the Pinot Noir.
And a little bit less tannic.
And a little bit less tannic, but especially once it sits in the cellar for 5, 7, 10 years, it really, those fruit notes kind of start to kind of subdue a little bit more. And then in specific regions, and we'll talk about these in a little bit, in certain regions you'll get these forest floor notes, these wonderful mushroomy flavors that are just so nummy delicious. And that's really what we look for in our aged wine.
Yeah.
Nummy deliciousness. The secondary and tertiary flavors.
Yes. And you don't have to break the bank either. Price points for Beaujolais are much more reasonable. If you're looking for something you're thinking about cellaring, you are going to need to go up in price from maybe where we are with these bottles, part of the package. You're probably going to be looking more at like a $30 Beaujolais Cru, but that's really your top of the line often if you're in the $30 range. There's not a significant number that are going, 100 plus like in Burgundy, where that would be easy to spend that much, which is crazy.
and the thing that we just kind of heard, because we've been sitting on these different Zoom chats and talking with different wine professionals, we heard somebody break it down. The easiest way to tell whether or not a bottle is cellarable, one, you really do want to use the price point, because then that shows the kind of quality that went into the bottle. But there are 3 factors to look for. The first one is the tannin level. The second is acidity, and the third is sweetness. It needs to have at least 2 of them, and then it is cellarable, cellar worthy. Because what will happen is those types of really heavy tannin and acid notes, or acid and sweet, they'll start to break down, and then you'll really kind of get these underlying flavor notes and expressions, and it creates a wonderful feeling inside, and that's what we're looking for. All right, so...
But not all Beaujolais Cru are created equal.
And we will get into that.
We'll talk about them a little bit and some of their differences today.
So,
this evening.
Welcome, everybody. I am Steven.
Hi, and I'm Beth.
And this is a Veni Vini Amici production. We like to share a glass of wine with everybody, provide a little bit of insights into the region or in the grapes, some of history, geography, the ins and outs of the beauty behind the wine, if you will. Kind of pull back that curtain just a little bit and see something else behind just the wine in your glass. So, we welcome everybody to have your webcams on. We love seeing you guys. It really kind of keeps us motivated and happy and going and stuff like that. We really like thumbs up and cheers, and the interaction that we can do in these virtual times is really wonderful and empowering to us. So our first slide that we have this evening is obviously Milan Avant, because of the windmills, which is not one of the 2 wines that we're specifically drinking today. But with these types of lectures, you don't need to be drinking the exact wines that we're drinking in order to get a lot out of it, because we go beyond just the specific wines that we're drinking. And When you think of Beaujolais, most people think of the windmills and the castles and the architecture of that region. And so that's why we had to start off with it in our first slide.
Right. So in French, Moulin à Vent means windmill. And so one of the Beaujolais Cru is Moulin à Vent. And yeah,
These are the windmills.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So sit back, pour yourself something, and enjoy the rest of our flight as we are going to be landing in Lyon. Lyon is the closest airport that we can get to because we are going to Beaujolais. So we're going to pass over the Loire Valley. We're going to skip over Paris. And of course, Champagne is super close to Paris. Not even going to talk about that. Burgundy has 3 specific regions in it: Chablis, Burgundy, and Beaujolais. But Chablis and Burgundy and Beaujolais are almost as different as any other regions like Loire Valley and Champagne. So we kind of treat them and study them as if they are 3 separate and distinct regions. They have different climates, they have different soils, and Beaujolais is no different. So one of the things about Lyon, and we're just going to kind of put you in the right mood. So enjoy your wines, kind of be thinking about the little nuances and differences while we go on our little journey. Is the food. Lyon has so many Michelin star restaurants. This one is a picture of a 3-star Michelin restaurant. I've never been to a single 1-star Michelin restaurant, let alone a 3-star.
Lyon is quite the food capital of France. It has one of them, but it's very well known for just amazing culinary experiences.
It is. And wine and food, this gastronomical experience, they go hand in hand with each other. I love showing pretty pictures. And when I saw these, I had heard that Lyon was like the food capital of the world. I'm sure that's up for debate. I have no claim to this, but when I saw these pictures, I was like, wow, that is art. That's not food. That's
I know, I feel bad eating some of these. They're so beautiful.
So on that top part right there, those are little truffle shavings on the outside of that.
Truffles.
Yeah. So I'm going to be sipping my wine while we're talking today. So let's just kind of get the cheers out of the way. And welcome, everybody.
Cheers.
So happy to be with you this evening. I hope everybody had some wonderful dinner, and maybe you were able to pour a glass of these and pair it with your food. This wine goes so well with food, a lot of foods, because it has this wonderful acidity and this like these bright red fruits. And it can really help with your heavy, greasier foods. So anyways, moving on. And of course, we're going to be showing maps. We love talking about maps. It's a really great way to see where we are in the world. So we are in France, and you can see that in the bottom left. And we already kind of went to Lyon, so that's going to be to the south of our map.
So we just have to drive a little bit north, and then we're in Beaujolais.
And these are the 9 crus. We are going to come back to these. But we are just kind of showing you where we're going, and we're driving up. And so what better way to show you where we are than using Google Maps? We use Google Maps all the time, but this is actually the Google Maps inlaid inside of Airbnb. Okay, so we have Fleurie and we have Renier down in the south, and we can see kind of the different regions along the way that... Right, that is what... Oh, no, we're drinking Juliénas.
Juliénas.
Okay, so we
which
are
is
going
a little
to...
bit further north of
which is
Fleurie,
going to be
which
further
is
north.
in the middle.
I highlighted Renier in the bottom, but that was a slight error. But so we're going to be Juliénas and Fleurie. You know, it's okay, though, because the Airbnb that we're staying at this evening is not that far away from any of these. And it really kind of helps show that these regions have such different essences and nuanced flavors because of the soils and the little microclimates that they have, but they are so close together. And that's why we do these little virtual kind of mapping out what a vacation would look like. But also it's just fun to dream of us all gathered at this type of huge chateau. Everybody's running in, calling dibs on the bedrooms that as soon as they get in, they have their little wheelie carts. The people with backpacks, they obviously have a clear advantage because they can just run quicker up the stairs.
Yeah, think about that. Duffels or backpacks have advantages. It's true.
And then we can all meet for dinner, hopefully crack open a bottle that we picked up when we were down in Lyon. Of course, I have to show you the swimming pool. And this might not seem like wine, but at least hopefully you are here with us as we all dream together. And yes, that clock tower, you can climb all the way to the top. It is yours for the evening, or for the week. And we shall have a great time.
So that's our launching pad for our tour of Beaujolais.
Yes. So would you like to kind of share a little overview of... Beth has been rigorously trying to memorize the 10 cru, and she got it right just this morning.
Well, yes, but I can't really demonstrate my prowess this evening since they're shown on the screen. It would be cheating. But I've been trying to be able to list them north to south. I think I've got it.
You have gotten it.
So the breakdown in terms of, you might say, designation of origin or qualities, we're basically looking at there are 10 Beaujolais Cru, and that's going to be the highest level. We also have Beaujolais Village. There are 38 villages that can put their name on the bottle additionally. And then you have, making up the rest is going to be under Beaujolais. So these are the different levels of quality, the Beaujolais Cru being the more higher quality wine. Out of the 10 cru, you can see here there, and as Stephen mentioned, there's a variety of different profiles here. Some of them are lighter, some of them are bolder. And this evening we're drinking one that's on the bolder side, which is the Juliénas, and one that's on the lighter side, which is the Fleurie. And each one of these has a slightly different character. Notably, Morgon and Moulin au Vent are often favored for cellaring, and you will see a lot of them here in the US. You also see a lot of Juliénas, Fleurie, Renier. We really enjoy the Renier from that we've been having recently. But then
so
some of them,
5.
yes, and then some of them you won't see as often. It'd be more difficult to get. Like Chenin is more rare to see here in the US.
Yeah. And when they say bolder versus lighter, they're talking about the tannin structure underneath. And so remember at the very beginning, as Beth pointed out, you know, the Moulin au Vent and the Morgon are going to be your more cellarable wines. The Juliénas is kind of on that border, and that's because it has that tannin structure. All of these made with the Gamay grape is going to have this acid structure, but because of the soil types and the region, we can get a higher tannin structure, and it makes it wonderful for cellaring.
Mm-hmm. And this can depend on the producer too, as well. So you want to keep an eye on producers that are making great stuff.
Yeah. And so now this just blasted so much stuff on your screen. And I understand we're not supposed so much data. We're going to hang out here for a while. And so feel free to kind of read and just listen to us talk. It's more of, you know, we wanted to have all the information there because it really highlights how amazing discoverbeaujolais.com really is.
Ooh, yes. Super fun. Got to check it out.
We built our foundation in textbooks and, using Somm TV and really kind of develop, but really at the end of the day, the Discover Beaujolais just really sums it all down into very palatable and easy to digest information. So if you don't have one of the two regions that we're drinking tonight, feel free to kind of pull up on your cell phone the discoverbeaujolais.com and pick your specific region, and it will tell you about what flavors you're supposed to be looking for and the soil type, and then kind of just a little bit more background about the information. So we're going to start off tonight with the Fleurie,
since it is the lighter of the two.
It is the lighter of the two. The most feminine of the crew, and we'll kind of give into that inside joke that they're trying to push, and I love it. I'll play along with any joke, but so when we smell this one, we really look for those red fruits, but also with the Fleurie, we really look for the floral notes.
It's in the name, and it's very accurate. Fleurie can have some of the strongest floral aromas,
and it was when I first smelled it, I was just like blue flowers. I don't know what blue flowers is, but my brain was just like, it's a blue flower. But yeah, so violets and
roses. You can potentially see some rose. Here they've listed irises. Another one you could look out for that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I think I get a lot of violets personally, but it's obviously up to interpretation. Whatever you're smelling is how you're experiencing the wine.
And so when we think about the Fleurie, the distinction between the Fleurie and the Juliénas is this soil type. So it's on pink granite, right? This hard stone, and it's the pictures of it. I should have pulled one up. I apologize for that one. I love pretty pictures. How could I not get the pink
It's
granite?
really beautiful.
We have to go there. That's what it is.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah, we have to go see it.
It's this is just a trailer for the trip.
Yeah, but pink granite is one of the more famous soil types for Beaujolais. It's not just in Fleurie, it'll be in other regions. And Gamay really loves pink granite.
And so with this specifically, we really get this wonderful acidity. It has a little bit more seriousness than the Beaujolais Nouveau that people have celebrated with us and that you might have celebrated with your friends. And so we can get this depth of flavor and this acidity and the seriousness in it, but it's still fun, and it's an adult juice box. Like, that's really what this is, and it's wonderful. It's so fun with springtime. You can still have it as like the nights are a little cooler, so you can still have that depth of character and that warmness to it, but it's still fun, bright, and invigorating.
And can be served a little chilled, so it actually can be something you can drink throughout the warm weather days that are coming up.
That's exactly right. All right, and now we're going to move on to the Juliénas. And this one's going to be a little bit more serious. That's what we're looking for here. And so the flower notes really, for me, are not showing on this one.
It's only in comparison, I argue, because I think, when I smelled it earlier, and I hadn't just smelled the Fleurie, I feel like in comparison to the Fleurie, I get almost no flowers. But if you have it alone, you might have a completely different experience.
We did have a situation where we poured the two glasses, and I feel this happens more than it should, and I forget which glass was which, and we had a sample glass, and when you smell them, two sample glasses just without having any context, it's really hard to kind of be like, oh, this one has more flowers, but only when they're side by side can you really just be like, okay, this has less flowers.
Yeah, absolutely.
In it.
I agree. I hardly get any compared to the other one.
Okay, so now we're going to dive into this.
Getting some nice spice.
And again, there's a little bit more of that tannin structure underneath of this. There was, on the Fleurie, there was kind of this minerality, kind of backbone that went throughout the length of the wine. Whereas this one, we can really kind of feel the tannin structure coming through.
You're definitely getting tannins. It's kind of like when you think about black tea, coffee, those kinds of things. You're really getting that sort of like feeling on your tongue with this one, which you didn't really get as much in the other.
And so if you have fattier foods, your more tannin wines will be going really well with that, because that tannin structure will soften and you'll really get this elegant, lovely, luscious wine. All right. And so
I like that word, lush. Both of these are very, luscious.
They are very lush. And so this is the inside joke that I think Beaujolais is trying to push, and it is, what type of Beaujolais are you? And so if you aren't drinking the specific wines that we are tonight, which I believe is the Queen, and which was the other one?
Ooh, let's take a look.
Let's take a look. Fleurie is the Queen.
Earthy.
Right. It does. It will open up to that kind of that rich kind of forest floor, a little mushroomy. It would also be kind of more available to decanting in order to pull those notes out through the oxygen getting into the wine. Of course, I believe Renier is my personal favorite, the creative. And I don't know if I love it because it's the creative or because it is just a wonderful wine and it speaks to me. But so I hope that everybody has enjoyed the evening. We have a long laundry list of upcoming events that we have been working on. I know that I've been a little silent on the webpage, veniviniamici.com, but we are working on a lot of upcoming events, specifically with the Wine and IP series. And that is through my day job, not my fun hangout session with everybody here. We have two awesome upcoming events. Earth Day and Plant Patents, where we are going to be looking at two different types of of patents. And with Earth Day, it's kind of vinification and how are we leading towards a green new future. We're going to have some awesome people that we're interviewing during that. And we're going to have a wine down where you can get the wine ahead of time from, I believe it's in Sonoma. It's 100% solar and renewable energies that they use. If you drive up in your Tesla or other electric car, you can get it for free. You can recharge. Everybody loves that word, free.
Free recharge.
And so we'll be having a wine down after each of the wine and IP events. That will also go with our upcoming lectures, which is one to be determined on May 27th. And then we're going to have a rosé, still versus sparkling. And of course, we can't mention Beaujolais without talking about Beaujolais Nouveau. So please mark it on your calendar, November 18th. It's already been on mine since last Beaujolais Nouveau day because it's such a fun party. And hopefully we can all meet together and celebrate that day.
Yeah, so all these events are free and open to the public.
Yes, they are.
So,
Tell your friends.
Join us. Tell others.
We advertise on Eventbrite, Wine and IP. We are putting up an official page that will have our previous recordings as well. And so at this time, we will conclude the event for all of you on YouTube. We thank you for tuning in, like and subscribe. And we will then open it up for a discussion in the in-house. And so if anybody is tuning in, please feel free to contact me ahead of time if you would like to join our WebEx event. We limit who comes in, but if you're cool, we'll let you in. All right, bye.